Hello and welcome. It is the date of the 18th of January 2019. My name is Derek, and let's take a look at some NHL action. And I have two selections for today's game and an opinion on every other game but the two latest games. Tonight we have the Montreal Canadiens traveling to Columbus to take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Toronto Maple Leafs are going to finish off a back-to-back and the road trip in Florida. They take on the Florida Panthers. The New York Islanders are in Washington. They'll be playing the Washington Capitals, Ottawa Senators, and the Carolina Hurricanes. They're playing tonight. Pittsburgh in Arizona to take on the Coyotes. And the games I got no opinions on will be Red Wings and Flames and Sabres and Canucks. Therefore, let's get started. And the first game that I want to talk about is going to be that of the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on that of the Florida Panthers. Roberto Luongo is going to start for Florida. Garrett Sparks for that of the Toronto Maple Leafs. So back to the way it was at the start of the year. Anderson played last night. It says unconfirmed, but we're going to be seeing Sparks in net, and this is my strongest play of the night. Let's take a look at why. And the play is going to be that on Toronto laying 1.5 goals and a price point of plus 189. That is way too high of a price. I like the money line as it is. It's like only minus 130, minus 140. Not that high. Although the Leafs are the type of team that will play higher scoring games, they're going to win by multiple goals more often than other teams will. Toronto's got a 16-6 road record, where it's 13-11 at home. Florida, well, they're pretty much just as bad, if not a little marginally worse. Now it's probably 9-17. That's 26 plus 19. That makes sense. They've had more road games. But they're not a good team. Toronto 4-0 in their last 4 road games on the 1.5 line. They've won their last 4 games by 2 goals or more. And the 5th last road game for Toronto was a 4-3 overtime loss to the Florida Panthers. What does this tell me? Well, this tells me that this is a revenge spot as well for Toronto. Toronto is 12-10 all season long on the road at covering the minus 1.5, which means they do that more than they don't. And here we are looking at a price of plus 189 against a team that sucks in Florida. How bad do they suck? Well, they've lost 7 consecutive games. 15 goals, 31 goals allowed. They have allowed 4 or 5 goals in every single one of those 7 games. Florida's also coming off of a road trip in Pittsburgh, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Montreal. This is something in basketball and hockey I really like to focus big on. When a team goes off of a long road trip, especially of decent travel, and I know Florida is used to it given their at a point where a lot of teams are far away from them. But a decent sized trip nonetheless to go north to Pittsburgh and then travel northwest to Edmonton and Calgary and Vancouver and then travel all the way east to Montreal and then go back south. And they've had 2 days off. This is where I think that a big reason why this works out huge, where teams coming off of road trips don't do too well, is they got to get a lot of things together. They're back at their normal homes. It's just so much things that got to get done, and they just don't. I think they focus less on the actual task at hand, which is the next hockey game. The Toronto Maple Leafs are 4-2 this season, also on the second half of a back-to-back. So there's so many variables, so many parameters, in which are pointing for me to play on the Toronto Maple Leafs in this game at plus 189. And when you're on a road trip like Toronto is, you go from one game to the next. Well, that to me means that you are focused on that task in hand. You're going to get the hockey game done. They would have finished last night, most likely cruised in the hotel in Tampa Bay. They've already would have flown, I guess, flown. I don't know if they'd be taking a bus, given how long it probably still would be. Yeah, they would have flown from Tampa to South Florida, and now they'd probably do what they normally do in a routine like this. They'd have their skates at this time. They'd be on track for what should be a very easy situation because the travel is very short. Let's next take a look at Montreal and Columbus. And I only have an opinion play on this game. These are two teams right now that I refuse to fade. Both of them are playing very, very, very good. And overall, it's a Montreal defense that's trending, tending towards the hot side. That should be an R there. But all I got is an opinion on 6 goals. So let's next take a look at the next play, which is the game between the New York Islanders and the Washington Capitals. And the Toronto play was a strong play. This is just a regular play. And it's going to be on the New York Islanders on the money line, plus 160. The Islanders this year are 6-0 in the second half of a back-to-back. Washington's got 2 nights rest. They're 5-2 when that's the case. Both teams are marginally better on the road than they are at home. New York Islanders have 3 straight victories, allowing a goal in each of them, outscoring their opponents 11-3. The Islanders are 13-3, outscoring in their last 16. That is, outscoring their opponents 53-28. And in 6 of those 16 games, they have allowed 3 goals or more, which means 10, it's 2 or less. And in 13 of the 16 games, they have scored at least 3 goals. So this is a team that's getting their act together. And they're playing tremendous. And it's an amazing story for the Islanders. This is a team that picked up Toronto executive Lou Lamoriello. They lost John Tavares, and they replaced him with Leo Komarov. And I say that as in that's a major downgrade, which it is. But they're getting the job done right now, and it's very amazing. Now the Washington Capitals have got 3 straight defeats, being outscored 13-4. They're 3-6 since the end of the hot streak. And on November the 26th this season, Washington won in New York 4-1. November the 26th being the date, 4-1 defeat. So there's a revenge spot in this as well. So therefore, to me, the price is just way, 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 way too high. Should Washington be favored? Maybe and probably, but by this amount, not even. Maybe, in my opinion. So it's more than it's an opinion play that this is way, way, way too high, validating this to be a play at plus 160 and for what I consider to have great value. So quickly going over the rest of the games, Ottawa, Carolina, and I knew I should have played Ottawa last game as they beat Colorado. Ottawa 3-1 their last 4 games. Carolina 7-2 in the last 9. Ottawa has had their key defenseman come back in the last game, and this is just a monstrous price. But it's only an opinion play because I don't like to fade Carolina, and I don't know if I believe Ottawa's returning it on, and they're still a bad team. Pittsburgh and Arizona. Pittsburgh has lost 2 straight and 2 of their last 5 since the defeat or the loss of their hot streak. Arizona is picking it up lately, 4-1, with an average score of 19 or a total score of 19-15. That's 34, an average of 6.8 over the last 5 games. So I have an opinion play only on these 6 goals. I figure if Arizona is able to get some goals together, after all, they've scored 19 in 5 games. And Pittsburgh with Crosby, Malkin, Phil Kessel, and the bunch, they're a good team. So I think that over 6 goals should maybe have some possible value towards it. And then again, no opinion on the late games. For the Flames, the price is too enormous, but the Wings are improving a little bit. Buffalo at Vancouver, both teams are they're streaking to their season, just a little below average of a team, both lately on the year. we have Jack Eichel back from injury, but it isn't showing to help the team too much. If anything on totals, but Buffalo's the type of team I'm looking to want to play over right now, and the opposite with Vancouver to the under. So nothing to do there. Thank you for tuning in to today's video. As far as the association is concerned, very quick look across it. There's nothing I can see that I want to put a wager on. So therefore, the only way that I will is if I get some sort of information from a trusted source. I listen every day, and I usually don't find anything. Oh, I really want to go on too much of what was being said, because I'm waiting for other people to give me information, and then I'll look at the game, and that's what I like about it. So for myself, I've given reasons why I like Toronto over Florida, and why I like Islanders over Washington, along with my other opinions. So make sure to do your own research, and I'm glad to have helped out within such for your research in tonight's NHL games. Have yourself a great day. Bye bye.